And we are live. Welcome to Love and Stuff. I am your host and facilitator, Marcus Holmes. Thank you for joining me here live. I am just clicking to share this on my news feed. All right. All right, we are live. Fantastic. We are live for another episode of Love and Stuff. I'm Marcus Holmes, and I am excited that you have joined me. I hope that you will click, share, and tag some folks to join us as we seek to always get 1,000 views and 60 shares is our goal, and we're one step closer with your participation. It is a wonderful community, Love and Stuff, and it is just my pleasure and honor to be able to facilitate each week from our inbox topics sometimes, and now expanding to many other topics that are outside of the inbox, if you will. But we like to go back to the inbox every now and then to check in with people who broach subjects, all things love and stuff, which warms our heart that you would share from your space things that are happening in life that we might all grow and that we might share our perspectives and become better. So I'm going to click share, tag some folks to join us in the discussion. We are streaming live both on the Love and Stuff page and on YouTube. So we switched it up a little bit today, just trying to engage you in different ways. Hopefully that engagement will help us as well to learn how to provide to you exactly what it is that you're looking for. So I'm clicking share, and I hope that you will click share as well. A few folks have joined us. Turn that down a little bit. Thank you very much. I think it says something different in my restream, but we will fix that in the comments. All right. Corey Reed and our senior associate producer has joined us. Thank you so much. And I hope that others are joining us as well. So we are live from the Love and Stuff page and not the Marcus R. Holmes page, though I did share it to the Marcus R. Holmes page just to have people joining us there as well. All right. All right, so I'm going to click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. Hopefully they will join us. We are live from a different page, and so all right, click share. Very good. Okay. All right. All right, Miss Cynthia Green has joined us. Thank you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. We've been missing you, and I'm so glad that you were able to be with us this evening. Make sure we get that corrected. All right, just tag and share, giving some folks a chance to join in with us. Make sure all right. Okay, getting some things together there. Hello, 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 hello. I hope you will click share and tag some folks to just join us in the conversation. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Just tag a few folks to join us. I appreciate patience as we do that. All right, come right on in, right on in. Right on in. All right. 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 Just tagging a few folks to join us. Hmm. All right. All right. Thank you, Julie Stewart, for joining us. Happy belated birthday. Will you all that are here click share and just tag someone to join us in the conversation? Carmen Evans has joined us. Thank you so much. I hope you'll click share and tag someone to join us in the conversation. And I am going to get into the topic. I was going to share screen. I don't know if my share screen function is working on this new platform, but I wanted to share the screen for you to be able to see. I don't know if it is sharing the screen to show you. But we have debuted a new product. It is a Love Over Racism t-shirt. And you can get that today by going to our Shopify store. It is $17.99 today. That's our introductory price on our Shopify page. And I'll make sure I drop that in the comments as well. You can always get Gratefulness Journey Everyday gear. Always, always, always Gratefulness Journey Everyday gear. Thank those of you who have supported and bought tote bags and purses and t-shirt dresses and all of those things that you can purchase. We appreciate you so very much. It helps us to carry forward some of the work that we seek to do here in the Love and Stuff community. And we can't do it without your support. And so we're always thankful when we have your support. All right. All right, so I had to switch so I can follow along. All right, here we go to the topic. And our senior associate producer is here. Thankful for him. He will share the topic in the inbox. All right. So from our inbox, my divorce from my husband was recently finalized, she says. We ended our marriage due to irreconcilable differences. Nothing that I did was ever good enough, and after the birth of our children, our sex life tanked, she says. I just got tired of fighting and counseling did not help. I learned after we separated that his father had a lot of negative things to say about me. I learned this through my ex. Every time we argued, he would throw something that my father-in-law said about me in my face. I'm trifling. He married down. I'm a stupid bee. I recently learned from a sister-in-law that the same thing happened to her. We also have this in common. Before we married these brothers, their dad, my father-in-law, made several passes, suggestive comments to each of us. I never told my husband because I didn't want to cause a rift, but now, do I say something? The most recent incident occurred 6 months ago. but not too many times in our last 4 years of marriage because I made sure that I wasn't alone with him. So I want to ask you, what do you think? What do you think? They have just ended their marriage. It is finalized. They are divorced. Is there any reason why she should share with her ex-husband that her ex-father-in-law, I guess you could call him now, made suggestive passes to her before they even married? Does that matter at this point? What would be the purpose, if anything, for making mention of it now? What do you say? I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to join me here live, I will drop the link in the comments so that you can join me live if you'd like to talk about it live. I'd love to have you come and talk about it live with me. What do you say? Give me some likes if you think that it even makes sense to share. Julie Stewart, I'd love for you to come in. I'd love for you to come in and tell me, why does that at all even make sense? Would it be something that you would share? Would you share that information? I'm going to drop the link in the live. Would you share that information? Hi, Rashida. I've tagged a whole bunch of people to join the discussion. That's kind of how I notify people. Thank you for responding to the tag. Vivian Morrison has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. I appreciate you joining us. Oh, I sent the wrong link. Let's try it again. I sent you the link. That's the link to the YouTube channel. You can always go there. And I want to send you the link to join us live in the studio. All right. Let's see if I can get you to join us live in the studio. All right. What do you think? Jocelyn Smith has joined us. Thank you so much for stopping through. I appreciate it. I'd love for you to join us in the conversation to basically determine, what would you do if you are finalizing a divorce and you learn that your father-in-law has had a lot of negative things to say to you, about you, to your ex-husband. But before you even got married, he used to make passes at you, and at least once since you've been married. Is that even worth mentioning at this point? You're divorced. Is that worth bringing up? Would you mention it? Would you bring it up? I'm going to drop that in the comments if you want to join me live. I'd love to hear from you. Is it worth mentioning? Would you even share it? Okay, give me some likes if you would share it. If you would tell your ex-husband, by the way, since I'm so trifling and a stupid bee and you married down, how come your daddy was trying to get down with me? Give me some likes if that would be your response. Or would you say, we're divorced? What difference does it make? What do I care what this man thinks of me, even though he is the grandfather to my children? What does that matter? What's the point? She just says, no, you would not. Okay. Julie says, I think when you get married and have children, the husband gets jealous of the time you spend with your children. Yes. And so I guess I'm asking Julie, because it's not the husband as much in this case, though they definitely divorced because of irreconcilable differences. But it is the father-in-law who has kind of talked about the daughter-in-law to the husband and had been talking down about her, calling her stupid bee, saying that his son married down when he married her, that she's trifling. But now that she's heard these things thrown up in her face by her ex, she's thinking about sharing with her ex how it was that her father-in-law used to make passes at her before they got married and at least once after they were married. Is it worth sharing? Cynthia says, I don't think it's necessary at this point. He'll probably think she's lying since she never mentioned it. So Julie, I dropped the link in the comments for you to go live with me. I'm gonna drop that link again. I think it should appear. Let me know if you're seeing it. It should be right beneath you. I just dropped the link there. Click share and tag some of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, to join in this discussion. That link is there also. I can have up to 6 of you to come and join. Rashida, if you want to come in, I'd love to have you. Thank you so much. I tried to bring into my camera the spotlight. I did. There I did. Okay. So I'm showing you the Love and Stuff t-shirt, the Love Over Racism t-shirt. I'm not sure I can move it over. I'm not sure exactly how to do that on this new screen. But I think it is showing you. I think it's showing you. Justin Davis has joined us. Justin, I'd love for you to come in and talk to me on this point. If the irreconcilable differences are suddenly reconcilable now, then yes, bring it up. Okay, Jay Gerald, I'd love to have you come in because their divorce has just been finalized. So you're saying, hey, it could be finalized and we could still get it together. That's what. All right, that's our senior associate producer, and I'm going to take the spotlight off of our Love Over Racism t-shirt, though you can get that on our Shopify page. All right, I'm going to take the spotlight off that. All right, Julie, keep clicking so we can get you in. I'm going to kick off this. Let's see. I don't need to share the screen anymore. Okay, cool. So, Julie, if you click on the link, it should allow you to come in. Now, JJ, on my screen, you're turned sideways. Let me just make sure that's not something that's happening over here. All right, I'll give it a second to pop off that. Yeah, turned sideways. I don't know if you have how your phone is turned, but there you go.
So is that better?
That's better.
Now I can't see me. Okay.
Well, I think it's probably more important that we see you than you see you. But I understand. And so, welcome. I know you've been a very busy behind the scenes person, so I'm glad to have you in front of the scenes. If you were in a situation where you had finalized the divorce, the ink is fresh on the divorce, and it was irreconcilable differences. Your husband and you begin to fight. I mean, your wife and you begin to fight all the time. After having children, your sex life went dead. These are just some of the issues that, for whatever reasons, you all did not work through in counseling, because you attempted counseling, but you didn't work through those issues. And so now the ink is dry. And as you have recounted some of these arguments that have happened, arguments included bringing in the parent, right? So my dad told me never to marry you. I shouldn't have married you in the first place. You trifling, you a stupid bee. I married down. I should have done better.
Right.
Does it make sense to now share, oh, by the way, your dad is really the dog because he was hitting on me before we got married. And 6 months ago, he cupped my behind. Does that make sense now that the marriage is over?
I would say no. I mean, for me, at that point, if it's the irreconcilable differences, then it's time to just let go. Um, Now, my question, even in my comment, was: so is it all of a sudden now that the irreconcilable differences are reconcilable now in her mind? Are they trying to get back together at this point? And if not, then just let it go.
Yeah, I think she's angry because she's finding out that all this time the dad was, kind of hitting on her and her sister-in-law,
Hmm.
talking her down to his son.
Right,
And she's feeling like, well, maybe the son should be aware for the next relationship, this is how his dad operates.
right.
And
Yeah,
whether or not that's her role, or whether or not it'll bring her some sounds like it might bring her some vengeance, some revenge in her
right,
mind,
right.
um, which should never really be the catalyst for why people do things, but people do things out of revenge. So
Of course.
you're saying that she should probably just let it go if there is no opportunity for reconciliation.
Right. Yep. Let it
And
go.
and and what is that? How would you advise her now to navigate? Because she's got two children by this ex-husband, so that grandfather is going to have time with those children, which means she may at some point be around the grandfather. How does she navigate that?
So if she, it, I would go this route. If let's say that the grandfather all of a sudden said, or not all of a sudden, but let's say he hits on her again in
Hmm.
the new type of relationship that they're having,
Hmm.
then at that point I probably would advise her to say something,
Hmm.
because uh, if she was to say something now, it would seem like it's just all out of revenge,
Hmm.
and it might not be taken the right way by him.
Do you think at any point that he would ever now take it the right way, even if down the road she says, "Oh, your dad keeps hitting on me," and he's like, "What do you mean keeps hitting on you?" Well, he's been hitting on me. I mean, the fact that she didn't mention it, I don't care now. At this point, it's just like whenever she mentions it, it's probably going to either be, looked at as maybe a revenge moment or maybe not truthful.
He so he probably already knows that that's how his daddy is.
Hmm.
So I mean, you there's some things that you really can't hide from your children
Hmm.
over a length of time, and especially now that they're grown, his children are grown.
Hmm.
So he probably already know.
And you would think that he would know and not have addressed it.
Right. Yep. You know, it's there's so many secrets in families, and people hold on to things. And if she was going to say something, I would advise her to say something before the marriage ended,
Mhm, mhm,
so that even at this point, the sons would know how to deal with daddy. If they don't know, let's say that they don't know, but if they don't know, they would know how to deal with daddy and how to
mhm,
handle him at this point. At this
mhm,
point, daddy can say anything and be like, "Oh, I don't know," just make up excuses as to why she's saying this even now, because they've been listening to daddy all along.
mhm, mhm,
Although they might say, "No, I didn't listen to my daddy, and that's not why I'm divorced." Well, over time, that same voice in your ear over and over and over again, and you haven't quashed that voice when it comes to your marriage,
mhm,
which is what they should have done in the first place. Daddy, I don't need your voice in my ear about my marriage. This is my marriage. If they
mhm,
didn't quash that then that voice in their ear is still going to be there.
mhm. How difficult is it to overcome that voice? I mean, you had your dad in your life.
Hmm.
Um, if he had thought a certain way, how difficult would it be to overcome his influence in your relationships? Because a lot of times we, as men, who have relationships with our Father pattern ourselves after them listening, quite intently to what they're telling us. So how difficult do you think that is to actually overcome?
For me, it wasn't difficult at all because at that point that he did say something, and he did. He said a whole lot of stuff.
Hmm.
At that point, I had a
And when you say he said a
conversation
whole lot of stuff, he's had some things to say that
from
you either didn't agree with or were not in support of what you were doing.
I'll even go this far. From day one, my father had stuff to say. He has things to say. He did not want me to get married at all.
Hmm.
And
Was that because he didn't think you were ready, or he didn't want
no,
you to marry who you married?
he didn't want me to marry who I married.
Okay.
He had it in his mind, old school Baptist preacher. He had
Hmm.
in his mind who I needed in my life.
Ah.
And as soon as he started out and said it the first day, I said, Daddy, you have no say in this relationship.
Hmm.
Because at that point, I'd already made up my mind.
Hmm.
We was already on our way to the altar and everything else.
Hmm.
Uh, so there was nothing that he could say
Hmm.
that could sway me because I knew the word.
Hmm.
And because of that, and because I knew who I was getting involved with, I
Hmm.
anything that he had was all not even secondhand information. It's just things that he just conjectured up that he thought um, would be more sufficient for me, and
Hmm.
to push me down the road that he wanted me to go.
What was his
And
response to you when you told him, "Hey, this is my relationship, my marriage"? How did he respond to that?
he got quiet
Hmm.
my, because my father knew me. There was I'm a hard head.
Not
Uh,
you. No,
oh
not
yeah,
you.
oh yes, of course me. Tongue in cheek, but I for me, there was nothing that he could say because he didn't even know her. That I
Hmm.
guess that was it. The main thing was he didn't know her and he didn't know the grown me,
Hmm.
the mature me, the adult me. I was
Got it.
always still his son, J. Gerald Harvey the fourth, and I was supposed to be pastoring the church wherever he told me to go to.
Got it. Let me go to the comments real quick. Vivian Morrison has joined us. Valerie Colbert-Olson-Wady has joined us. Noah Williams has joined us. Joyce Martin has joined us. Thank you all for joining. We're talking with our senior associate producer, J. Gerald Harvey, from our inbox topic. And I'd love for you to join us. I've dropped the link in the comments so that you can come live on the show with us. We're talking about a divorced woman whose ink is just final with her husband on the divorce, and her husband has thrown in her face some of the comments that her ex father-in-law now has had to say about her. She's trifling. She saying that his son married down, that she is
Hmm.
a stupid bee. But what she hadn't revealed to her ex-husband was that the father-in-law had made passes at her both during the marriage and for time before the marriage. They had only been married 4 years. She's wondering, hey, should I make mention of it because I'm going to be in some way connected to this guy through through his grandchildren, my children, or should I let bygones be bygone? And our senior associate producer is saying, bye, be gone, if there is no reconciliation opportunity. And so I want to hear from you. I know Julie Stewart was going to come on live with us. I hope that you're still available. But I'd love to hear from some of the rest of you, some that are still married. I see that we have some folks still married. We got some widows. We got some folks that are divorced. I'd love to get your perspective on it. What would you mention it? Would you mention that your parent-in-law? It could be the converse, right, brothers? That
Yes, it
would you
can.
mention that your mother-in-law was saying that Negro ain't no good, but she's busy trying to kiss you in the lips and busy groping you. What would you do? Um, Julie Stewart Howard to do this and can't do it to get online. So Julie, it's just the link. If you, I'm gonna drop the link one more time. If you click on the link, it should be almost like 1, 2, 3 for you to get in. Really, it should be pretty simple, right? Senior associate producer.
Only if she has an iPhone.
Only if she has an iPhone. Let me see if I can click it from my Android. I'm gonna try it. Oh, it's not showing the link. Oh, I guess you have to kind of.
So we'll load it to the Facebook page, and they can go to Love and Stuff from Facebook to our page, and it'll be on there.
Okay.
Then she can click on the link or copy it and paste.
That's what our
I
senior
got you.
producer said.
I got you.
You can get to that link so that you can come on. I'd love to have you on. I know you're divorcee, and I'd love to get your opinion. Valerie Colbert-Olsen-Wade, I'd love to have you on. If you want to click on the link, he's going to make sure that you have an opportunity, Julie. We love all users, Android and otherwise. If you had a BlackBerry, we love you too. So he's going to make sure you
pilot.
There you go. He's going to make sure you click it from the page so that you can get in. All right. Joyce Martin, I'd love to have you come in. Noah Williams, I'd love to have you come in. Click on the link. And if you have an Android device or something other than an iPhone, our senior associate producer is dropping the link on the page. So I want to hear from you. Give me some likes, those of you that are here. If you think it would be a good idea for her to share with her ex, her new ex, if it would be a good idea for her to share the information about her father-in-law. Would that be a good idea? Give me some likes. If you say yes, okay, I got one like. That's Julie, I think. Okay. And give me some mean faces. If you say absolutely not, let bygones be bygones. Because that's really what we're talking about. Whether or not information that you may have withheld or information that you may have learned at the close of a marriage or relationship, is that information now does it become relevant when you're closing out the relationship? And if so, why? Is that worth questioning, asking yourself, now why am I sharing this information at this point? Is there a reason why I want to share information at this point? So Valerie, the father-in-law told the ex-wife, learned at the end of the marriage or toward the end of the marriage that the father-in-law had been telling her son all along that she was trifling, that that he married down when he married her, that she was a stupid bee, fill in those letters. But the father-in-law had made passes and suggestive comments before they got married to this ex-wife. And at least once during the marriage did he make a suggestive pass toward her. So now she's wondering, okay, now the ex has thrown up all of these things about the father-in-law that he has said. Should she bring this information to the attention of her ex? They're divorced now. And she's saying, yeah, but I'm still going to be connected to this guy because we have 2 children. This is their grandfather. What should I do? And I'm wondering whether or not she should be asking herself, why do I want to share this information? Taj Crown Robinson has joined us, another beautiful, creative sister who happens to be a divorcee. She might have an interesting perspective to share on this as well. If you take a quick gander at the topic, but I'll summarize it to say this couple unfortunately did not stay together after 4 years. They had 2 beautiful children as a result of their marriage. They separated for irreconcilable differences. She learned as the marriage was winding out, if you will, that the father-in-law had many negative things to say about her, including that she was trifling, that she was a stupid bee, and that the son had married down when he married her, that he stooped below his level. And so she's wondering whether or not she should reveal that the father-in-law made passes at her and a sister-in-law. So two of his daughters-in-law he made passes at before they got married, and at least once while she was married to her ex. And I'm wondering, does it make sense to have that conversation? And if so, why? I think she raises an interesting dynamic that oftentimes when people divorce or separate, there's still, and their children involved especially, there's still connection to the in-laws, right? There's still graduations and birthday parties and holidays potentially where you're together. So there might still be some connection, but she hadn't mentioned this information all along. Is it more to be spiteful and revengeful? She says, no. I think my ex has a right to know what kind of dad his father is. What do you say? Tamuk Scruggs has joined us. Thank you, sir, for coming in from Saving the World. We love you and Love and Stuff. I hope that you will click on the link and join us live and give us some perspective. What do you think? Is this just somebody being spiteful, or does it make sense to say, because really the larger point, and one of the reasons why I wanted to share this specific topic, because it's sometimes the topics that come in the inbox are sometimes similar, and sometimes they're reinforced by other points of topic. But when you are ending or have ended a relationship, is there any reason that you should share information that you withheld during the relationship? Does it matter at the point when you've ended the relationship? What up, Dotamu? Does it make any sense that you've ended the relationship? The link to join us is in the comments. I'd love to have you come live. Does it make any sense? Is it just being vindictive? Can anyone share some perspective, maybe having been divorced or having been separated? I think many of us could say we've been out of a relationship. You're not a registered user for that app. And it sounds like you won't register for the Love and Stuff. You won't take one for the team. Tamuk Scruggs, is that what you're telling me? I'm sure that's not what you were telling me. I'm sure that the son already knows about the character of his father. She should just move on and pray for him. Now, Tosh, what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't know about the character of his father in that regard? What if he would never expect? What if he's the kind of son who idolizes his dad, and his dad has a strong influence on the decisions that he makes and the people that he keeps around? What if he is none the wiser? My Facebook is not working either, but if her father-in-law was hitting on her, that is absolutely disgusting. So, Julie, could you expand? I can, kind of get an idea of why you would say it's disgusting. Absolutely. Why you would say that. Would there be a reason or under any circumstance that you would not share that information with your husband? And would there be a reason that you would think you should share it after you've divorced? Well, now because of the children aspect, maybe she should, but not in a vindictive way, just to humbly make him aware. Cynthia, I hope you can come on. We've been missing you here in the Love and Stuff. I know you've been busy, and I appreciate all of you. We can't have a Love and Stuff without you. And we've been doing Love and Stuff for almost 3 years, I think, going on 4 this year. And It's a wonderful opportunity, and it only works if we have people like you, all of you, who come and share your perspective and share the content and enrich our community with your presence. So I wanted to step out and say that really quickly. Our community is enriched, deeply enriched by your presence. And so I wanted to just, in the way of a quick thank you as a commercial identification break, while we're trying to get some folks to join us live, though we love you coming in the comments. But when you come with us live, it increases the engagement. Your friends get involved. They you live. That's why I'm always inviting you to come live. And it looks like we're getting one guest to come in. I'm not sure. Someone with a hat. Oh, I think I know who this is, especially as he has come in appropriately. Come on, Val. Come on. All right. This is Tamook Scruggs. Hello there, sir.
What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on?
Looks like you're actively engaged.
Yeah, man, out here at the skate park with the kids.
Fantastic.
Got my niece and my nephew out here.
Fantastic.
My nephew won a T-shirt after 3 tries and attempts.
So let me ask you.
Come on, go there. Go ahead, Marcus.
So my quick question for you is, does it make sense to share that information after?
Yeah. Hold on, Marcus. Somebody left the board, and we don't know who it is, but they'll come back for it.
So we'll give him a chance to pull that together. I can't sit quiet on that. Taj, come on in. I'd love to have you come in. I took him off the spotlight for a second just so that we can pull that together. Tamook is a man of many tasks and things. Okay, thanks, Cynthia. Okay, Taj Crown, click on that link and join us. Val, join us. You said she should tell it. I want to hear her say she should tell it. All right. Okay, Tamook. All right.
All right. I'm on.
I gotta go get my phone. It's there.
I got it, bro. Come on. No, okay. So this situation, I'll let you ask the question.
I already did ask the question, but thank you for letting me.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure we was on the same page.
We are.
All right. This situation, man, is kind of crazy. She's divorced. Personally, I just hey, I'm out the family, so I don't need the negativity. I don't need the drama, because at the end of the day, unless she's planning on getting back with my man, the ex, ain't no reason to even worry about them no more. The dad's behavior will be found out, and they can deal with it then.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it ain't nothing more that they can do. I mean, what are you gonna do? The ex is gonna beat up his daddy because he flirted with the sister and his wife. There's some things you just gotta let go and let karma work itself out.
And do you think that the fact that she wants to tell it is that there is she wants to be vindicated to some degree?
Yeah, it's just wanting to let them know, just to be spiteful.
Okay, so it is spite. Okay.
Because if you already out the situation, ain't no reason to be worrying about nothing that happened. If you didn't take the energy to discuss it and make it known while you was in the relationship, ain't no reason to waste the energy while you no longer in it. Let's go.
And so if they have children together, and so she's going to have to be around this father because they have children. He's a grandfather. Does that at all change your thoughts on that?
Well, again, the best thing to do that I would suggest is that just keep your distance. Just keep your distance. I know you gotta deal with the kids and all of that, but even with that, just keep your distance. That way you don't have to be involved in the drama, because you don't have to have the drama if it ain't necessary.
Okay. Val is disagreeing with you. Valerie Colbert Olsen. She said it's not spite. It's setting the record straight.
Ain't no record to set straight. I mean, if she was worried about setting the record straight, she should have set the record straight when it happened, and
Now,
that way it wouldn't have to worry about it being happening back, now, and she's already divorced, and whatever the situation was that caused the divorce, she's out of the situation. Ain't no reason to go back and work trying to bring up old stuff. Let it go.
Valerie,
Move
Valerie,
on.
does, Valerie does raise an interesting perspective. What if at some point he says, "Hey, she was hitting on me," at some future point, if he says, "Hey, she was hitting on me," if the record is set straight, that can never come back up that way.
Well, I mean, if Pops ain't hitting on him now, like I said, hey, it happened while they were in the marriage. She should have said something then. I
Okay.
don't understand, bringing it up now unless it's continuously happening, and she don't want to be dealing with it now that they're separated, but they still got to be around each other at family events. She's checking, like, hey man, look, if you say anything to me, I'm going to your son, I'm going to the whole family, and let it be known, how you behave while we were married and now that we're not. Then
Got it.
move from there. You keep your power, but you don't get after nobody else.
So, got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your
Nope.
evening.
All right, man. Thanks.
Right. All right. That was good advice, I think. Good advice from one of our Love and Stuff community members to Mook Scruggs. I want to hear from some of you who don't agree with that. Val, if I can get you to come in, I'll see if our senior associate producer can drop the link in there again so that you can join us. Taj Crown, you're also saying I can't sit quiet on that. So let me hear it. Let me hear it. I know that these perspectives might be very helpful. Oh, I don't know. I don't think you have to be on your laptop because Tamuk just joined and he wasn't on his. So, sometimes people are scared. And Julie, people are scared. Can you give me a little context around that? Sometimes people are scared of the repercussions of sharing the information, scared of coming live. I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying. And again, thank you all for being here. We're talking from the inbox about a recent divorcee who says that her father-in-law made passes on her, and not only her sister-in-law, which is her husband's sister-in-law, her husband's brother's wife. So both of them have had both passes and suggestive remarks made to them by this father-in-law. These passes have been what they felt was an inappropriate hug or touch or kiss, and comments about them, kind of objectifying comments, if you get my drift, about body shape, scent, stuff of that nature. She married this gentleman. They were married for 4 years. They recently divorced for irreconcilable differences. And toward the end of the marriage, as they were going through the divorce, her husband began to share with her things that his father told him about her along the way, that she was trifling, that she was the stupid bee, that his son had married down when he married her. And so she wants to tell the ex about his father's behavior and is wondering whether that is appropriate. I love that she is questioning, and it is something that I would say to anybody: if you're making a major decision or you feel it's a major decision, you ought to question it. To ask yourself, is my motive right? from Chamuk's standpoint, the motive could only be being vindictive. But Val says, hey, the motive could be a good and genuine one to set the record straight. And I think you do have to ask yourself, what is the motivating factor? What's driving me? Why do I want to set the record straight? Or why do I want to withhold information that I never spoke on during the course of the marriage? It had to be painful. We don't want to cause conflict. I agree. But if you are enduring inner conflict, what is the cost to your mental health? What is the cost to your children? What's the cost to you if you are harboring in these feelings about actions that were not appropriate? What's the cost to your marriage? Because are you looking differently at your husband, thinking, are you like your father? There's so many factors that might contribute to your person and your personhood and to your relationship when it comes to things that you harbor, secrets, withholding information that you harbor. And so you got to think of, tallying the total cost. What's the cost of walking around knowing that this man has been saying these things about you, but has been doing these things to you as well? We've got Taj Crown Robinson who is joining us. Hello, Taj Crown Robinson.
Hey, Marcus, how are you?
I am doing well, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Listen, I wanted to get your perspective because I know you're a divorcee. And if you were in this situation where, let me start at the top of this, Taj. Can you think of a reason, or would there be a reason in your mind that you would not have shared this earlier on with your husband? Is there a reason that you would have kept it?
With them early on, wouldn't have kept that, especially being married to him, something like that, I wouldn't have kept private, although I know it's going to cause some tension, probably some disbelief, probably some disagreements, maybe an argument here and there. That's something that I wouldn't keep private because from what it sounds like, he's been doing this not only to me but to others, so that's something that I wouldn't keep quiet, even if that meant that we would have to go through a divorce because I told the truth. Marriage is about oneness, so you have to share that. Even if it is the dad, you still have to share that. Regardless.
Yeah. And in this case, unfortunately, or fortunately, we're not judging her necessarily, but she didn't share it, and now she wants to. At this point, do you think that she should?
She should still share it, only because, she should have shared it before. She shouldn't have waited till, the end of a divorce, and now, he probably won't believe it because of whatever their personal disagreements may have been to end the marriage. Regardless, she still has to tell him, even if he calls her all kinds of names and says things like, well, see, that's why I'm not married to you. No, how anyway? Like, that's something that she still needs to share, because she don't know, and he don't know at all, but she don't know how many other women that he's done this to within the family. And I say that because a few years ago, and I know it's a different scenario, but a few years ago I went to a family gathering, and my father was there, and one of the relatives was video recording me during this event. And my father kind of sat back and watched how he was looking at me, and he was taking pictures and whatnot. So my father checked them right then and there. So to bring it back to this scenario, the wife should have mentioned something to him early on, but since she didn't, And since the marriage is over anyway, she really needs to share that,
Mm-hmm.
because she's going to still be part of the family event, especially if they have children. And he did that not only to her, but from my understanding, he did that to another sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So
And Taj, I'm
something
gonna
has
jump
to
in
be
real quick.
said.
Can you turn your camera? I think you're sideways. Do you have it turned sideways, maybe?
I don't know if you can see me now. Can you see me?
I can see you, but let's see. Let's see if it turned. I'm looking on. So yeah, I think you're still sideways.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. Is that better?
Let's see if it's switched. Okay, you're still sideways. So just keep talking.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. On the bottom screen, it looks like I'm stuck or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not getting off work, so I'm kind of like all over the place right now. Um, but
We appreciate.
anyway, how was that?
I said we appreciate that you came on. Yes, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Regardless, something needs to be said.
Mhm.
Um, because she don't know how deep this thing that he do goes. Um, and if it's not with her when she was married to the son, or another wife that was married to another sibling, let's say her ex-husband marries someone else, it'll be with her. It'll be with anybody, as far as I care, he's probably done it to multiple women. Just
Mhm.
so happen, he he's doing this type of thing within the family, and he probably thinks that his son won't believe it. So, she's not gonna say anything. um Sounds like he didn't like her anyway, so the father's probably thinking, okay, well, anything she says, the son is not going to believe it.
Mhm.
But he was married to this woman, and maybe the marriage is, um that bad where they got divorced, but still she
Mhm.
needs to say something. That's something that I wouldn't keep a secret, no how.
Yeah,
um
you raised some great points, and who knows if the father does this to sabotage the relationships of his sons? It
right,
might be
right,
something that he does, and so the son will need to know for the next relationship. I mean, it could be.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because sometimes families pick sides, but when you're married, that's something different. you know you're supposed to know your spouse. Thank you so very kindly. Thank you, sir. Okay, sorry, Marcus.
That's okay.
um that's
And
when you're married to.
Jay Gerald is saying you got to turn your camera to landscape, turn the phone to landscape. Val is saying he
Oh,
thinks his
what I
behavior
gotta
is safe
do.
within the family. I think that's a great point, Val. I'd love to have you come on now. Hit that link. Hit that link. That's a great point. He thinks his behavior is safe within the family. He might. And this, people have for centuries literally had family secrets and family, situations that nobody shared and told. And the perpetrator knew that no one would tell, right? And so it was easier for him or her to maintain that behavior because nobody within the family would tell or would say
Right,
anything.
right. And so, and that's the thing. Women, for whatever the reason, and I'm not just saying that this is something that women do, but given the history of women that have been molested or raped or anything of that nature, women don't tell for whatever the wonderful reason. Maybe they were threatened. Um, it's so many different reasons, but a lot of times women don't say anything, and then you find out, years later, that something should have been said, you know, and it's too late, but it's never too late because the person may have an illness or a sickness, that they can't stop because they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, you raised some great points. I wish
So,
Tamu could have stuck around because his point is, hey, you're not in that family anymore. Let it go. The
but
only reason.
still, what if he did? Let's, like, for instance, what if they had daughters? What if he did that to one of the daughters that's now 18?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? She's
Hmm.
not a little girl anymore.
Hmm.
She's a grown woman. What if
Hmm.
he is doing that to one of his grandchildren?
Hmm.
What if he has a sickness where he's done that to one of the grandchildren when they were little? You
Hmm.
know, we don't know, um, to what level that he's been doing this, and who else he's been doing it to, not just with the daughter-in-laws.
Hmm. Yeah, Julie Stewart is agreeing with you as well, saying absolutely. And so it takes some courage, I think, to have this conversation because they didn't part exactly amicably.
Hmm.
And so she does run the risk of him saying, "You lying, you're just trying to find something to say on me." How does she go about having that conversation with her ex?
Um, well, if she carries herself like a wife should have carried herself all these years, she was
Hmm.
come at him approach,
Yes.
and say, hey, I know we are divorced, on whatever terms that caused our marriage to end, but this is something that I need to share with you that I probably should have shared with you years ago, but I was trying to protect your dad. I felt horrible, by what your dad did. And I was trying to protect the relationship between you and your father, but I can't just let this continue because he's not only did this to me, but he did this to, another sister-in-law, and I need to share this. Now, you may not ever want to speak to me ever again, ever in life, but somewhere down the line, you're going to see what your dad is doing. You may
Yeah.
not see it today, but you're going to see the behavior. And I think that's something that you and your dad need to sit down and talk about. And you can kind of get a feel from your dad if he's telling you the truth or not, because he's your father. You should know him better than me,
Yeah, that's
you
good time.
know.
Yeah. Julie Stewart has joined us. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad you were finally able to get on.
I know. I'm so glad too. So I have some opinions about the situation, and I'm so
Hmm.
appreciative of what she was saying because it is so important. It really is. What? Oh my God! I don't remember her name, but that was so important. What you said. It was power. It was empowerment that you said because he can do it to somebody else and he can do it to grandchildren and everything. I appreciate that because I really hate, I really have a disdain for child abusers. I really have a disdain for them because be around any children ever. Never, ever. So thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
And I also think too, um, just overall, women have kept so many things private and quiet because they fear that someone's going to blame them for something they didn't cause.
hmm
So women have
But you know
to
what?
have this extra boldness and courage to speak up and tell somebody.
Yeah. And Julie, I kind of felt your energy. It kind of shifted. It got a little bit emotional. Can you tell me what you're feeling right now? What's that?
Because I mean, because I had, as I texted earlier, I had I had a good father-in-law,
Hmm.
and my dad was always good and no molested my child. They have this big thing with the Boy Scouts, but we were doing this at Hope United Methodist Church with the Boy Scouts, and I'm so grateful that my son was never molested or anything,
Hmm.
and my daughter has never been molested, and I'm so grateful. But I've just been crying because the people that have been molested, it's just sickening. It sickens me. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it does. It sickens me.
Hmm.
And to have like your own father, or, your father-in-law, because I can't imagine that you're married to somebody and then your husband's father is trying to molest you. And that's disgusting. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm serious. That's just absolutely despicable and
Hmm.
disgusting. And
Hmm.
it should be a crime. I
Yeah.
mean,
And I
seriously.
imagine, Julie, that what Taj was saying earlier, because there is sometimes shame associated with that, or you blame yourself for it, that people don't come forward and say, hey, this is not okay. Because you wonder, why me? Or you wonder, if I say something, will I be ostracized, or will I be thrown out of the family? Will it destroy my marriage? That people might keep those types of secrets until they feel empowered to speak. And unfortunately, I think in this case, the divorce might be what empowers her to speak, because now she feels I'm free to say it. And so there are a lot of women that are grappling with what you're saying is sickening you, because they don't feel like they have the voice with which to speak.
Right. And also to add to that, maybe it will make sense to the husband a little bit as to maybe some of the problems or challenges they've been having within the marriage. Maybe what the father-in-law has been doing has caused some rift and some problems within the marriage, and she kept it quiet for all this time, and he's thinking all this time, well, maybe it was you, because usually when people get to the point of divorce, there's this finger pointing and pointing and blame, so maybe that will help him understand, okay, maybe my wife is the way she is because of something that my father-in-law did, so she's going to have to explain that to him, you know and like I said, it is a very
He's going
touchy
to have to
subject.
address him. He's going to
Right.
have to address him.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
that's even more tough, right? If you have a
right.
relationship with your father and you are none the wiser. I mean, we she doesn't believe that he knows, but sometimes sons do know the behavior of their fathers, but let's say he's none the wiser. It's a tough conversation to have when your ex-wife brings it to you after the fact.
Right.
It's a tough conversation to then even go and talk to your father about something that she decided to bring after the fact.
Right. But I guarantee you, if if he don't believe it now, something later on down the line is going to come up again because it's still a problem.
Hmm.
Um, and the son will see it at some point. He
Hmm.
might be in denial,
Hmm.
for a minute,
Hmm.
but at some point, something's going to happen later on down the line, um, Yeah, and he'll be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean,
so
I'm grateful that I haven't experienced that. I've heard of it. I'm glad I haven't experienced that, but I've had the worst abuse from my mother-in-law, for real. But the sexual abuse is really unacceptable, and it should be, they need to be prosecuted as
Mm-hmm.
far as I'm concerned. All
Mm-hmm.
those guys need to be prosecuted as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
They need to
And,
be prosecuted.
and
I
I want
really
to ask
do.
you,
But
Julie, since you said you've experienced some abuse, you characterized it from your mother-in-law. If there was information that you knew about your mother-in-law, would you share it with your husband, ex-husband?
no, I did not share it with them.
Mhm.
No, I did not share it with him because he's a mama's boy.
Mhm. So you think that he would believe you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
women women usually have a tendency to water down um issues to try to keep the peace.
Hmm.
So a lot of times they're looked at as mean or bad people or bad women, and they're really not. They're trying to cover for someone that they once cared about. You women usually do that. It sounds like she was trying to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And she know by being married to him the relationship that he had with his mother.
Yeah. And
So she probably figured, it was a pointless effort. She's not going to believe it.
yeah.
You know.
And part of the challenge with that, I think, is that when women or men, whomever might be in the role, harbor that kind of um, information or feelings, they end up harming themselves.
Right.
It
And
weighs on your psyche, it weighs on your mental acuity,
yes,
your mental health, your
yes,
ability to be everything that you should be for yourself and your children and your family. It weighs on that because you're trying to manage these other feelings by holding them beneath. And I
yes.
think,
Like that's so true. Like for instance, can you imagine the countless young men or boys that have been molested when they were younger, and now they're grown men, and men, um the world tells a man to put on a man face, go out into the world and make life happen. Well, so many men have been molested as either young teenagers or boys, and now they've grown up into men, and it's something that they've never talked about because they're ashamed, because their male gender is, I wouldn't let that happen to me, but things like that have happened, and so many men have been silent.
mhm,
Yeah, yeah, and I know that this is not a Bible topic issue, but when we look at the issue where Joseph was accused of rape, and he was
mhm,
thrown in prison for
mhm,
years.
mhm,
So can we imagine, I guess, his mindset during that time, when he did absolutely nothing,
mhm.
and years later it comes about that he didn't do it if anything at all to
Yeah.
this woman.
I want to pivot a little bit to the father-in-law. Do you
Okay.
advise this woman from the inbox, should she have any conversation with the father-in-law?
I wouldn't advise her to speak with the father-in-law alone. I
Absolutely.
I
Not
really
alone.
wouldn't. I wouldn't want to talk to him alone at all.
Hmm.
Um, I would want to talk to him um with someone else there. And also
And Tasha, when you
also
say with someone else there, Because the husband may not be a willing party. Who is the someone else that you might try to get to be with you to talk with the father-in-law?
Either
That's tough.
somebody else that knows, or or a friend of the person. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like for instance, I know for me, if I know my father-in-law did something like that, I'm calling my father.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, listen,
Now, if
I
your
need you to
father is
sit with
not in the
me."
picture, if your
No.
father is not in the picture, then what did you do,
Oh
Taj? I
shoot.
think you froze, Taj. While Taj comes back, Julie, if your father is not in the picture, who was the other person that you would talk to?
Who I would bring to the conversation, or who would
Uh-huh.
I would
Yes,
I
who
would
would you bring to talk along with you or be in the conversation while you talk to your father-in-law?
I would, if that had happened to me, I would probably bring in one of my friends or something. Yeah, that's who I probably would be with.
Okay.
When I went to U of M, I'd probably bring in one of them, because I really, no, I can't have that happen.
Someone that I trust,
Mhm.
because it's a very, very sensitive issue. And although my ex-husband and I um may not be on the greatest of terms because we're going through a divorce,
Mhm.
I would want to pull him into that only because he's going to see whatever he needs to see,
Mhm.
and he needs to hear that kind of conversation.
Mhm.
He really needs to be part of that. But understanding, he may not want to be. He may say I'm a liar, how dare you, and all of that. I would try to plead with him and say, hey, listen, I wouldn't say this just to say this. Now, you may not like me as a wife or a woman or a person, but at least see that something like this I wouldn't bring to your attention to wedge or put you and your father a relationship in that kind of mode.
Mhm.
Can I ask
This
you a
is
question?
serious.
Mhm.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think that if your husband knew, because you said you're going through divorce, so you're not divorced yet, right?
No,
Right.
they are divorced.
Oh, they're
They're
Oh,
divorced.
you are
Okay.
divorced. Okay.
Okay.
All
yeah.
right,
This is
never mind. I
yeah.
was
So
just thinking that if you were not divorced yet, that if you had gone through if you were going through divorce and you had that conversation, that maybe you would have, after that conversation, do you think that your husband would have felt differently about a lot of things?
yeah, I think he might feel very differently because again, from the inbox, this is not Taja's situation, just so that we're clear, Julie. But from the inbox, the woman is saying that she learned at the end of the marriage that her father-in-law had been talking about her to his son all along, pretty much, and so it's almost as if the father-in-law had been implanting these things in the son's mind, maybe to sabotage the marriage.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So his
Okay.
impression of his wife has been kind of tainted from the beginning because his father has been saying she's trifling or, you know, she doesn't clean, she doesn't cook, all of the things that he thought should be done. I was going to ask while we were in this pivot though, because I
How
thought
would
it was
he know all that anyway? If the
well.
son was married to the wife, why would the
Mhm.
son have that kind of conversation with the dad anyway? That's
It,
something
it,
private
it,
between a husband and
it
a
tells
wife.
you it tells you a little bit about the relationship of the dad and the son, right? Because there are
Yes.
sons and dads who might have those conversations, and there are sons and dads who would never have those conversations. So it is
That's
telling
that's that's
about their
private.
relationship. But I was wondering whether anybody was going to say anything about the mother-in-law. As a mother-in-law, do you think that she should be brought into this?
Lord have
Should the
mercy.
mother-in-law be made aware?
Well,
Our senior
the
social
mother,
That
the
woman
mother-in-law.
was help.
someone's broken up. I can't. I don't believe the
Okay.
burden is on the ex-wife to make the ex-husband believe. Okay, thanks, Val. Val, come on in this conversation now. Come on. Yes.
The mother-in-law knows everything about the man anyway. You know, she may not like him because he's probably started a whole bunch of forest fires. That she may not agree with anyway. But she's been married to him so long, she just deal with it. Um, so I
Oh,
don't even know.
So yeah, so my question is, would you tell the mother-in-law?
Yeah, yes, I would.
Okay. Okay.
I would
Okay.
because it's that's a problem. Because they're pulling in branch. Well, it's parents shouldn't be like so involved in the marriage of that son and wife anyway.
Yes. Which is it's almost a whole nother show. It's tangential to this, but it's almost a whole nother show because a lot of parents are involved in their children's relationships and marriages, right?
And they shouldn't be. They need to
And,
go somewhere and sit down somewhere
and,
and
and what I
go for a
always say
walk.
to that, it's hard for them to stay involved if the children don't allow, if the children don't allow them to stay involved, then they typically don't get to stay involved. So that
Mm-hmm.
is something in the parent-child relationship where they get to stay involved. They're allowed to stay involved, right?
Well, let me bring up this scenario too. I remember when I married,
J.
the
Gerald, turn your camera. Turn your camera, J. Gerald. You and Taj are both sideways on the screen. Y'all like
I
this.
wonder why. I wonder why we both sideways on the screen, but okay.
Is that another Love and Stuff show? Do I need another Love and Stuff show? Clearly, I walk in the spirit. That's what
No.
I need another Love and Stuff show. That's what I'm saying. All right, turn your camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn
Okay,
your camera landscape.
Yes, turn your camera to landscape.
But I was gonna say when I was married,
Yes, but Taj, are you turning your camera to landscape?
what do you mean landscape?
So
Sideways.
Like that?
let's see what happens. No, so you
Did it
probably
change
should have
anything?
landscape orientation on your phone because it didn't, you're still sideways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't look sideways looking at me.
I know, but I'm looking at the actual live. I'm kind of doing the production thing, and so on the actual live, you're sideways.
Okay, I'm sorry about that one.
All right, but I want to double back though. So you're going to talk to the father-in-law. I hear Val in the comments saying choose a close male friend or a brother. Julie said a football player. Bring somebody with you to the conversation.
She said a football player.
You did. And so you bring somebody to the conversation and the father just says, you're lying. I ain't never done nothing to you. I was just joking with you, playing around. I ain't never meant nothing by that. You ain't no good, blah, blah, blah. Do you tell the mother? Do you let it go? What do you do? Do you tell his wife? Is there a reason that you
tell
would
the
tell
mother? This is what I was going to add. When I married the man that I married once, before we married, he wanted to tell me about all the relatives and all of the bad relatives and all that. I said, I don't want to hear about that. Let me learn them for myself. So So marrying into the family, I was hearing all this negative, all this bad stuff about certain relatives on his side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening was that may have been true, but they all loved me.
Mm-hmm.
Time went on, and they all loved me. And even to this day, um, we've had great relationship over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so maybe this is one of those situations where maybe the father-in-law don't care for her too much, but everybody else loves her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe the mother-in-law is not like the father-in-law, but still she needs to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, she can't just let that go silent one more moment, whether she's divorced from the man, she has nothing to do with the certain family members. She needs to speak up and say something. She don't need to keep silent one more second, because she's
Yeah.
already been silent long enough.
Yeah. Val is saying uh, when she got married, the in laws took an oath at the wedding not to meddle. Wow. Wow, Val. I
Hmm.
wonder if that was something more custom. I'm very interested, fascinated to learn more about that.
And I agree with that, because I remember, you were at my wedding, Marcus. I
Mhm.
remember, my pastor said, let these two, basically leave these two alone.
Mhm.
Let them learn whatever they need to learn. This wife don't need to hear from the family and everybody else how bad men are, and this groom don't need to hear from family and everybody else how bad women are. Just
Mhm.
leave them alone.
Mhm.
So I think probably more so today that that needs to be said, because some family members like the metal.
Mhm.
Some friends of the wife or the husband or both like to meddle.
Somebody's got playback going. Okay. So I think it's fascinating because I think it's kind of down the gender line. The women are saying, have the conversation. The men are saying, don't have the conversation if you're done with the relationship. And so I think it's fascinating, how men and women stack up on this, or the few men and women that have been in here, um, that women are saying you should clear the air, you should tell, you might be stopping this from happening. There could be a sickness, there could be disease, there could be some reason, why this father is wedded to this behavior and why it's pervasive in his interaction with women in the family. And you have the brother saying, but you're out of the family. Let it go. Move on. You're done. Only if you're going to reconcile should you uh, share the information. I think that's kind of telling about how we process the end of things very differently. Because is it really an end? One might ask, because this dad is going to be in the lives of the grandchildren, and should it be some kind of finish to anything related to it? That all issues are closed once you sign this divorce, that it's done. Should that be the end? I think those are
Well,
very interesting contrasts.
maybe the marriage is done,
Mhm.
but family is never done because you have
Hmm.
children.
Hmm.
Um, and number two, what if the father-in-law was doing that kind of foolishness to their girls that are now women? Would you say, oh, the marriage is done and it's okay if your grandfather throw these inappropriate passes at the granddaughters? What if it was what if what if the tables were turned? Would the fathers of his daughters say that's okay for the father-in-law to do that to the granddaughters that are now grown women?
J. Gerald, what's your response to that? I'm interested.
You know, it's a hard call to call, only because, once again, if if the marriage is over, it would all have to depend on how how intense or what actually transpired when he was quote unquote trying to talk to her.
Hmm.
Was it was it was it something innocent? Was it not something innocent? How
And,
deep did it get? And
and I
then
think,
that and for you
mhm.
and for her to not say something during that time period, I would want to know that as well. Why didn't you say something before?
Yeah,
Right.
I think what Taj said earlier, and I think you heard a little bit of Julie say it. Women tend to hold things in that they think might uh, jeopardize some
Hmm.
psychological safety longer than maybe a man would. Now,
Hmm.
the impact is always going to be subjective because it's the perception of the individual. But what I will share, uh, because these are folks that are in love and stuff, is real folks. I will share that he made not only inappropriate comments but inappropriate touches before they got married. And then once
And
they were married, he only made, as she says, one inappropriate kiss. The kiss landed a little too close to the lips, she said.
oh,
Well,
okay,
like I
and
was
then that
saying, go ahead.
But to that point, um, if you are done with the relationship, and this is a person who may not admit to doing anything wrong, bringing him to the light does what? Does it further distance your kids from their grandfather? Does it further distance you from a co-parenting situation with your ex-husband? What's the potential damage of bringing it to light? Where, okay, what are the next steps? Are you prosecuting because you were sexually assaulted? And if not, what does that do for someone who may not be in a position to say my behavior is wrong? Because in the African American diaspora, unfortunately, there are some uncles and fathers and cousins and old
hmm
gentlemen who behave in that manner and don't see it as necessarily
inappropriate,
a violation.
right?
And so now you're bringing this behavior to this gentleman who may not see it as a violation, and it doesn't change his behavior. So now what? You're already divorced. You're not pressing charges. What have you done to bring reconciliation? That's the goal. Maybe it's just exposition, bring it in the light.
Right.
So I'm
And I don't.
wondering,
And his whatever happens to him should never be the determination as to why I'm saying this at this point, as far as the woman is concerned. That should take no precedence as to if something was to happen to him or if this was um, going to go to the next level of prosecution or whatever. The thing that I would ask is was it inappropriate? How many times did it happen? And what's our next step? How far are we willing to go with this? Where are we
And my
going with this? Why are
and
we
my
bringing this
question
up
is,
now?
why would she wait so long?
Yeah.
yeah, I think she may have
No.
waited from what you were saying earlier. If you really were trying to make your marriage work and your husband idolized his father, and you were trying not to disrupt
Hmm.
that and your new marriage because they only stayed married for 4 years. Not only, I don't mean to say 4 years is too short a time, but it's not 20 years, okay? So they were married 4 years. She's trying to make her marriage work, and she realizes that her son thinks the world of his dad. So she held on to the information thinking, well, maybe it's just me and that's just the way he socializes, instead of realizing maybe he was using it as a tool to sabotage her all along. Or maybe it's a behavior that he has that he does to all women without regard to their relationship to him, which is, to your point, he might do it to an 18-year-old granddaughter when she's of that age. So,
Well, the
you know,
thing is, if she felt uncomfortable when he did it during, like, before the marriage and during the marriage, she she married this man, meaning the son, And if she felt comfortable, uncomfortable, she should have said, "Well, hey, baby, I need to talk to you about something." You know, it's kind of a little sensitive. She should have brought it to his attention, and then she should have allowed him to give his say on it, because this is
Mm-hmm.
his father. You know what I'm saying? He knows
Yeah.
his dad obviously a lot more than her.
Yeah.
So she should have brought it to his attention before the wedding. When
Yeah.
it first occurred. She
Yeah.
should have, and if she wasn't sure then, like very early on in the marriage, she should have brought it to his attention during the marriage, especially when the husband was on her side.
Got it. Pastor Enrico White has joined us. Same old Lee has joined us. Val is saying, bring it in the light. Maybe she had insecurities. That could be. She could have had
That's
insecurities,
possible.
especially if, again, sometimes, not Taj Duke Robinson, not Taj, but some women might say, I ain't going to lose this good man because his daddy is a fool. I'm going to work with this man, and hopefully his daddy will stop. Some women think it'll stop, it'll change, but I'm going to hold on to this good man. Men do it too. I'm going to hold on to this good woman, though her mama is crazy. Sometimes if the mama is crazy, the daughter might be crazy too. But some brothers will say, she got a job, she cooks, she does these other things that we want women to do. And so I'm going to look past her mama. And I tell brothers all the time, don't you look past a woman's mama.
Mm-hmm.
And brothers the same
Nor
way.
her daddy. Nor her daddy.
Nor her daddy. And the same thing for the converse. Don't look past the brother's mother or father. Don't look
That's
past
right.
it.
Right.
Consider it that there might be some impact, adverse or otherwise, on your relationship. But sometimes we're so happy we got a good thing, however we describe good thing to be, that we might not enter into that conversation that you just talked about. We're not talking about your dad who has loose hands. They used to say a long time ago, he got loose hands.
Mm-hmm.
And even that was downplayed, because loose hands really means he being fresh. And him being fresh means he should be punched in his eye. But we kind of downplay that. At least I can speak in the African American community. I've watched people downplay it and say, "Oh, don't pay him no mind. He's just fresh." And in this day and time, fresh can get you killed.
Right.
But sometimes
we 2020 now.
Yeah, we downplay it because it's just a little something that might go away.
Right.
And we've learned over and over and over again that those little somethings that might go away sometimes are big somethings that never go away.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And those are the things that we have to deal with, whether it's your family member or not. Whether it's the hard conversation, whether it's your dad or not. We've got to definitely make sure that we protect the family that we have, because they're going to go over to grandmamas and granddaddies. They're going to go over uncle and auntie and everybody else and be around them. And we have got to protect the family.
Yeah. I didn't mention much about the
key.
sister-in-law. The sister-in-law, the other sister-in-law does not want to have any parts of it. Her husband does not know. She does not want him to know. She would rather it just go away.
So my question for her would be, did this happen prior to the marriage, or is it a consistent, even after the marriage, that he continues to hit on her?
Yeah, the sister-in-law's situation to me is the dire of the two. But she does not want to be involved, and she does not want her husband to be involved.
Well, if it's known that he has and continues to approach the sister-in-law, then the one time that he approached this young lady that's in our inbox, then definitely I would say she needs to say something. Mm-hmm. She needs to speak up if she's ready and willing to do that. she needs to speak up to protect the sister-in-law,
Yeah.
because then it's a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
And if there's a pattern of behavior and no one has brought him and pulled him onto the rug, he's going to keep on doing it, and then at that point, there's no telling, because it's at that point that there's no telling who else he's doing this to.
Mhm. So
Absolutely.
the purpose is not so much for her.
No,
It
it's for
it's
the others.
it's to help hopefully stop, right?
Right.
Because again, I don't know him at all. Let me say that in the Love and Stuff community. I'm doing my best to honor and uphold anonymity to the extent that we can.
Mm-hmm.
But I will think that if someone is in a pattern of behavior and it's not brought to their attention, they, one, don't know that behavior is not appropriate, two,
Right.
knows it's not appropriate and they don't care, or
Mm-hmm.
three, can't stop the
Right.
behavior.
Right. Right.
And so if any of those are the case, I would hope that there would be someone of a counseling level that would be involved in these conversations, because when someone doesn't know that they have a problem or not ready to admit that they have a problem, bringing it to their attention may backfire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And,
So
or
that,
or,
go ahead.
or the main thing that we hope is that it triggers a response of regret, and it triggers a response of I didn't know, because
Accountability.
I know older guys that are like that, and just because they haven't been pulled out or told, that they continue to act that way.
Mhm.
And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's because they have not been told,
Mhm.
hey, that's inappropriate. But
Yeah.
you go up onto the right person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you might be in the club, and I'll be like, look, uncle, I'm trying to save your life.
Mhm.
That's inappropriate.
Yeah. And some, J. Gerald, know that it's inappropriate, but
Yes.
they can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And
And those
so,
are the ones that we need to, reel in. The inappropriateness will get uncle taken out, and we don't need nobody else taken out.
no.
Whether they need to be told in the appropriate way or in
Mhm.
the inappropriate way while they're still here,
Now, J. Gerald,
that's
be
something
careful what
that
you
has
say.
to be discussed. I'm
You,
sorry,
you
that's
gotta,
something that has to be discussed.
okay. Yeah.
We, yeah,
Yeah. But my concern for her, and I did express in the inbox, is to ensure that she has some other folks in the conversation. I don't know, again, if you
yes,
bring a stranger into a conversation with someone and there is some sensitive information, that person may shut down. So you
right,
got to be careful who you bring into a conversation,
yep,
um, um, to try to get bring some light to it. Val
and
says
that,
it's her and others. Would this father want his daughter treated this way? I doubt that he would, but I'd hope that if it's brought to his attention, and I trust that it will be, that he'll be open enough to either admit it or he'll be open enough to hear that it's not just her perspective, and maybe the other sister-in-law who does not want to be involved. I must repeat that, because there's
yeah.
a whole nother of it.
So I guess my other question is does the son or either of the sons exhibit the same behavior?
Not according to the ex-wife. That is not one of the reasons that they are divorcing,
Okay,
but have divorced rather. But
right,
you know, if if the father has been clandestine enough not to be caught, it could be a learned behavior that the son as well, could have engaged in that same behavior. But um, you know,
yeah,
that marriage is over from all intents and purposes. So she's not trying to reconnect that. She's trying to say, okay, I need to move forward as a co-parent with this man, and his father will be in the picture. And it will be difficult for me to be present with the father, knowing that he talked me down so poorly while he was trying to get with me.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're at 10:18. I think this has been a great topic. I think we've given some good perspectives for this woman in the inbox to consider. They have talked about originally gone down the gender line. Sometimes that happens. But it does take a certain amount of courage to be able to bring forward something that could have a negative impact on your family. So I commend this ex-wife and even broaching the subject because it is a tough discussion to have.
Yeah.
First with her ex-husband is what I'm recommending to her. And then if he is unwilling to have the conversation with his father and her, that she gets a counselor or someone on that level to have the conversation with the father. It's a big challenge because the sister-in-law does not want to be involved. But if she can, get some counseling for her as well, because it's tough to keep that kind of sensitive information inside. And what I want women, especially that are listening to this topic tonight, to hear that you've got to consider that when you hold and withhold information, the toll that it takes on you as an individual, that it takes your ability to be whole as an individual, to be that mother, that wife, that businesswoman, that Christian woman, what the role that you're playing in your life. When we withhold information that should be shared or vented or reconciled, it impacts the way that we show up in the world. And so you got to find your voice. Hopefully you find your voice before you sign on the ink is dry on a divorce, but it potentially never is too late to have conversations of reconciliation when reconciliation and moving forward and healing is the goal. It should never be to vindicate yourself or to get revenge on someone else or to be spiteful to someone else. It's about being able to move forward in your truth with your voice intact and being able to walk forward and live a life of healing, love, joy, and peace that you deserve. And so I hope for this woman and any woman who might be harboring secrets and information that you did not want to disclose because you thought it might ruin the family, the truth is it's ruining one of the most important people in the family, and that's you. And you've got to take hold of yourself and your voice to be able to move forward in your life and not be held back by secrets and information that could be deadly to you. Thank you, Taj Crown Robinson. Thank you so much,
Thank you, Marcus.
Producer J. Gerald Harvey. Thank you so much, Val Colbert, for all of the comments, and Cynthia Green, and for Julie Stewart for finally being able to join us on camera, and to Mook Scruggs also for joining us on camera. Keep the conversation going. Val is saying it's a very good discussion. One of the ways the conversation continues to go is if you drop continued comments in the commentary. Our senior associate producer and others drop back by and keep the conversation going along with me so that we can get others involved in the conversation so that people will understand it's important to find your voice and to be able to share information that will not ruin your life. You think it's going to ruin somebody else's life, but it's your life that's suffering, and you got to get hold of the information.
Marcus?
Yes.
Marcus, one last thing, because I got to add it. Even as men, we need to find our appropriate voice as well, because we hide too much and we don't share as much, and we do it in silence. And we need to have that same sage advice that you just gave to the women. We need to find our own appropriate voice, and then we have to be we have to be willing to share and able to share.
Yes. I agree with you, and you're really just doing a poster commercial for what, part of the work that we have, that we're working with a
Yes.
couple of psychologists who are working behind the scenes with us with a group of men.
Yes.
Men need a space, women need permission. It
Yes.
should
Yeah.
not be in either case. But
Yeah.
women need permission to speak, and they shouldn't need permission, but they do. Men need a space. We don't need permission, but we need the space to do it because
Yep.
we
Yeah.
won't do it in any space. We
That's
have
it.
to feel safe in the space to be able to do that. But I'm with you 1,000% that we need to find our appropriate voice in the space where we feel like we can say it.
Yes.
And what a love and stuff community this will be if people feel the space and the permission to be able to bring to a space, to a topic, to a situation, their real voice, their authentic voice about their experiences and their vulnerabilities so that people can learn and grow and heal,
Hmm.
because the deeply loved soul is the deeply healed soul, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
when you get yourself some healing and give yourself permission to speak on it, is when you really start to unlock and uncover places that you can love. You
Right.
can love your
That's right.
imperfections and your flaws, those things that you're hiding, because they are part of you. And
Hmm.
God knows them all, and He's got love for every place that's within you to move you into a place where He has designed for you. So I agree
Yep.
1,000%. The brothers need that same voice, but they won't do it unless they have that same space. So we're creating a men's space for the brothers. And I just, want to empower the sisters too, because they just need permission. The women will gather, but they need permission to be able to say what it is that they think will ruin or change the world. So
Right.
thank you for that, J. Gerald. And the brothers are going to be hearing more from you on that very topic, along with our folks that we're putting together to work with them. We just got to get the brothers feeling comfortable to be
Right.
able to be in space to do it. Yeah,
Yep.
great stuff. Thank you all so
All
much.
right.
If you
Thank
haven't,
you.
click
Thank you,
follow to
Marcus.
our Love and Stuff page. Click follow. Again, the Love Over Racism T-shirt is out. You can purchase one of those. It's $17.99 for a limited time before we put it to a regular price. That's your discount price. You can go and purchase that as well. We're talking with Mama V and some others about what we can do. We have not forgotten. We are not. It is not lost on us because people think that protests are simmering down. We have not forgotten that there is yet another
Uh,
pandemic in our nation, in our world, called racism. And we believe love over racism is the way to get people coming together to disarm ignorance and to disarm the weapons that have kept us separate. And
Yes.
so we want you to be involved in our Love Over Racism manifesto. Happy birthday to Lynn Shaw, who's a day one in our Love and Stuff community.
Happy
Much love.
birthday.
Join us on the gratefulness journey every day if you haven't joined us there. So many great things happening in the Love and Stuff community, and they're all for you. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Good night.
End it for them.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
All right. Love you to pieces, and we'll get back with you on the other love and stuff.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. All righty.
All right,
Bye.
bye.